Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Tippy Shorter and you are joining the Salon Centric Facebook Live. You guys saw my model's before photo earlier. If you remember, and actually we still have half of her length, so we are going to do the Mazzani Air Cut on her. When I had my consultation with her, she lets me know that her last haircut, her hair was blown out and had it cut. And if you go back to her before photo, you can actually see that one side is 1 inch shorter than the other side when curly. And that was because she had it blown out and straightened out the last time she had it cut. She also told me that she has typically gets a straight line cut, which causes her hair to be triangle. And so what I wanted to do today was give her a long lob, curly lob, and give her a interior cut, which is specific to the Mazzani Air Cut, which will give her the layers without the triangle and without building extra volume and bulk, because as a curly girl, everyone doesn't like super big hairs, right? So, and she is one of these beautiful girls who does not like super big hair, so I'm doing the interior cut on her. I will turn her around and show you where I began by creating her foundation here. Getting my frame, creating my foundation, and then going in and giving her Mazzani Air Cut, doing the interior glide, which gives her graduation, gives her the little hair pockets, which is specific to the Mazzani Air Cut. But when we wet her down and put product in, she's gonna have layers, but her hair isn't gonna expand as if we traditionally just did a 45-degree angle. All right, so I'm gonna begin.
All right, so voice from over here.
The voice of Kate.
The voice of Kate. Hey guys, I'm gonna let you stay on Tippy, but I'm the head of education for Mazzani. I will be asking Tippy your questions. Let us know you're here. Tish Hankerson says here, and she yelled Tippy.
Hey Tish Hankerson.
Donna White's here, so good afternoon.
Hey there.
Hi Tish.
So there's a few things I'm going to point out. Let's look at her texture type. So the really great thing about the Mazzani Air Cut is it can be used on all texture types. You know, we see we've got a really deep S wave here, so she has very few loops. She's definitely more on the high wavy spectrum, so I'd say she's probably living in our texture range about a 3-4 in this particular area, and then in some areas she's like just a 3 or even a 2. So so if you give her a good stretch, she actually goes straight pretty quickly. So we want to make sure that we are encouraging the curl as we go. So I'm going to start clean dry hair. Okay, because we want to make sure that we're working on her natural texture. I'm using my straight shear and I'm going to create my frame. So I already started my guide on the side that I pre-cut. And now I'm just continuing. Now with this, I bring it to the front, using you guys as my mirror. All right, seeing where my guide is there. I want to mimic on the other side. All right, bring it out to her shoulder. Then I want to connect this piece to that piece.
Tippy, Kyung is asking us, and I hope I said your name right, I apologize if not, do you prefer to use dry shears when cutting?
Yes, so there are tons of shears out there, and some are made specifically for cutting dry hair, some are made specifically for cutting hair wet. The ones that are made specifically for cutting dry hair are a bit sharper, and I definitely recommend that, particularly since we are cutting on dry hair.
So Tippy, why don't you elaborate for us real quickly on why we're cutting on dry hair, or how we're cutting on dry hair, since that's a big debate.
Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, my beautiful model had her hair cut blown out. and so it was stretched. So if your hair is wet, that's exactly what it does. It stretches. And if you are with someone who wears your hair, your customer is someone who wears their hair curly the majority of the time, you are not giving them a true cut in how their hair is gonna lay. So you can stretch them out, you can make their hair wet and cut it, but the moment you wet their hair, put product in, and dry it in its curly state, you're gonna have to go back in and cut the hair all over again. So now you have wasted time, you've wasted energy, and which is, you know, time wasted, money wasted, particularly if you are back to back in the salon.
So Amy Jo, this kind of like ties into what you just said. Amy Jo's asking, why cut the hair without pulling out the hair from the head? So I'm thinking maybe that has to do with tension. So
as you notice that my tension is little to none. So again, back to that. Now if I take this and I cut this here, do you see the shrinkage from here? I mean, her hair basically stretched, what is that? 1-2 inches. If I took her hair here and then cut here, this piece is gonna sit here. It's gonna sit like that. So if this is how her hair lays and this is how her hair falls, this is how she's wearing her hair. So I'm not gonna stretch it, because if I stretch this and cut it here, her hair is gonna end up about 2 or 3 inches shorter than she or I want.
All right, so I see you switched to a curved shear.
I did. Thanks, Kate. Or was that someone else's?
No, that was me. I wanted to call it out because we were talking.
All right, so I have switched to a curved shear, which is specific to the Mazzani Air Cut, because this is what adds the air. So we have 5 techniques that are part of the Mazzani Air Cut, but the curved shear is what makes creating the air a lot easier. So if I were to use my straight shear, the motion I'd have to use consistently is a scooping motion. With my curved shear, my motion is just a gentle open and close. Okay. So I did use my straight shear to create my linear line, but now I'm gonna start going into my zones, and this is when I will be using my curved shear for the rest of my cut. I don't.
So Tippy, real quick, so Amy Jo said yes, agrees with what you're saying, understands, but then what happens if they were to straighten their hair?
So I'd love to ask this question. If you did someone's hair cut straight, and when you wet them, what happens when you wet them and wear them curly? You're probably gonna have to go back in and cut it. So if I did her wet, blow dried her, I'd probably have to go back in and cut her. So what this is allowing me to do is when she is straightened the next time, there is a very little chance that I'm gonna have to go back and rectify the cut. Obviously, this would be really different if she had 50% one texture and 50% another texture. So if someone's hair is that different in shrinkage, then no matter how you cut their hair, however you style it, you're always gonna have to recut it. So if the textures are very close to, if the shrinkage amounts are very similar or all the same throughout the whole head, you cut it dry, wear it curly, she's straight, you wear straighten her out, and you don't have to recut it. Hope that made sense. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we just did a shoot, I guess this was Monday and Tuesday now, that Jamal, one of our artists, did a beautiful air cut on one of the models. And we actually were able to style it curly and straight with him not having to go back in at all. And she was probably, I don't know, texture type 5 or 6, which is, you know, tight waves going into coils. And it was really, it was remarkable. Everybody was pretty amazed that he didn't have to go back in and cut much of it.
So one thing I will add, so 2 things I'm gonna add. What I just added to her hair was the Mazzani 25 Miracle Milk. This is my, first of all, it's an incredible detangler, hair prep, set, however you'd like to use it. It literally has 25 or more uses. But what I'm using it as a cutting aid. So because I don't cut her hair wet and she's clean with no product, I want to make sure that I'm allowing her texture to become amplified, to become hydrated, and that the hair still feels soft and my shears are able to glide through her hair. So for each section, each subsection that I do, I always put a little bit of the 25 Miracle Milk on, and then you'll see me do it again after. So that's 1. 2, the other thing I want to add to that is that traditionally, a lot of the curly techniques that you may have taken classes with that are in the market are what I like to call CC. It's see it, cut it, right? So you see it, you cut it. 100% of the time, if you do that on natural, dry, curly hair, you're going to have to recut it when it's straightened. This is a technical method that you're able to hit every texture and address it how it is, okay? So what I'm doing now is I'm starting to do my elevation, so I'm doing a 45 degree. My guide is here, creating my 45, not 45 in elevation because we're using 0 tension. So my 45 is done with my fingers, right? So I've got my guide, I've got my 45 degree angle. I can now drop my guide. I can now lift for elevation because my fingers have the hair that's going to be cut. And with my curved shears just behind my fingers, I create an exterior guide. And so what happens in the hair is because I've gently lifted up the hair, we've got our short pocket and we've got our guide. So what happens now is the next section is going to go over and it's going to get repeated. So what's going to happen again is we're going to have our short pocket and our guide, which is going to create air channels within her hair. So this is great for several reasons. It creates light, airy movement in her hair. It also allows me to reduce bulk and density in her hair. As we mentioned before, she doesn't like big hair. She doesn't like triangular hair. So this is allowing me to remove a lot of that weight while creating layers. Because we know, what do layers do? Layers create volume. Well, I'm actually removing volume while creating layers. So now I go back in. So if her hair were straight and blown out, after you do your cut, you double check it. And how do we double check? By pulling, creating tension, feeling for balance. Well, one side might be curlier than the other. So if I stretch her hair, I'm never going to feel balance because her hair has different textures and I need to follow what her hair is doing. So I have to go back in with my product, smooth her hair out to see if there were any tangles or any curls that were hiding. And so I noticed I had a piece here that was a little stuck inside. So after using 25 Miracle Milk to double check, I now know I can come back and cut that. And I'm just gonna do that with a free hand. So I'm gonna move up to my next subsection. How many of you guys out there are currently cutting textured hair, whether it be waves, curls, or coils? Let me know.
Thank you, Rochelle Bustillo. I love Mazzani and the leave-in. Janie Snyder says, thank you so much for this. Any recommendations on these curved shears?
Yeah. So, well, let me just, can you see that word? You probably can't, I don't know. It says texpert, which means a texture expert. So when I first created this class for Mazzani, and I went out and I started teaching it and they're like, who makes curved shears? Where'd you get your curved shears from? And I'm like, you know what? I've had these curved shears for so long and I just said, you know what? They're actually perfect for this haircut, but I don't know who sells them, so let me do some research. Did tons of research, could not find any company, maybe one or two, that had curved shears. So I partnered with the company that I bought my shears from years ago to create a curved shear, and it's called the Texpert Air. So,
yes.
Did you not know that, Kate?
No, I mean, I knew it was in the works, right? But I'm excited that this is a debut.
So this is an official debut. So, you guys follow me, Tippy Shorter, at Tippy Shorter, on Instagram and Facebook, and then also follow the Texpert Collective. Again, Texture Experts, the Texpert Collective, and we will officially launch, because we haven't actually even officially launched the information yet. So follow me and or Texpert Collective, and then you will get all the details, plus a special discount. You just have to, actually you're watching this, so you'll get the salon-centric discount. And incredibly affordable.
So I love one thing. You know, I'm obviously Captain Obvious over here. One thing you have not pulled out of your bag of tricks is a comb.
Yes, thank you, Kate. So I use my fingers for everything, and everyone's like, well, you have nails. What if you don't have nails? Specifically the guys. What if you don't have nails? Use your finger. Again, we're talking about working with hair in its organic state, in its natural state, right? So what I don't want to do is disrupt it. What I don't want to do is start making tons of frizz unnecessarily. So adding a comb to the mix will do exactly that.
We got another question around tension. I know that there's a lot of people tuning in and out, so I do think that's probably the most important piece here.
Mm-hmm.
We want to
Absolutely. So I'm using 0 to little tension in her hair. The amount of tension used really is based on the amount of shrinkage. I pulled a curl that she had, I think, from the front, where it is much tighter in the front, as you can notice, as it is in the back. But I will say that once we get rid of a lot of this weight, her curls are going to start to bounce back back here also. What you pull, her curl stretches, her hair ends up a lot shorter, and she is not happy with me or you. So make sure you're using.
Yeah, so Jada is our model.
Hello.
Jada, what were you telling us earlier about your haircut growing up, about the shape of it?
Yeah, I always used to have it completely straight before cutting it, and then I would like the whole look where it was just like straight cut across evenly, and then I realized when I washed my hair that things ended up looking different. So it wasn't the best, but I mean, I tried to make it work, but now this is my first official curly, like real curly haircut, so I'm super excited, and I love it thus far.
We're very excited. So Tippy, we got lots of love coming in for the curly or the curved shears.
Awesome.
What is the name of them? I'm going to type it in.
Sure. We'll follow the Texpert Collective, and they are called Texpert Air, and they're 6 inches. Guys, what I want to share is when we do the Mazzani Air Cut, we do it in 7 zones for control, for consistency. Also, so you can let someone else know what you did to recreate that cut. So if someone's like, oh my gosh, I love that cut, what did you do? You can tell someone, well, in zone 1, I did this technique. In zone 2 and 3, I did this technique. So what I just completed here was zone 2. So the frame, which was around the hairline, is zone 1. We've got zone 2, we've got zone 3. I'm now moving into zone 4, which is the support, which connects my frame and my foundation.
So Tippy, we're getting a lot of questions about products. Did you use products prior to, and what products are we working with now?
Sure, so she was cleansed and let dry naturally, no product in it. So the only thing I'm using right now is the Mazzani 25 Miracle Milk. And this is what I'm using as my cutting aid. So I will be adding an additional product when it comes to styling.
So you guys, the 25 Miracle Milk is our universal leave-in. You can use it for everything. It's a great detangler. It really makes the hair feel soft. You can use it on all textures. It is a staple for anyone who has kids that need amazing detangling products.
Yes.
It is like a staple in my beach bag all summer.
And it just smells amazing. It works amazing. So I'm at a salon a couple of times a month, and when I leave, the Mazzani 25 Miracle Milk is on my station. When I come back, it's like, where's the milk? It's like, where's Waldo? It's like, who's that?
So, Tippy, somebody asked where we are, so I think that's a fun question.
You hear sirens, you hear blow dryers. We are actually on, in New York City at a content shoot for the Mazzani Air Cut. So we had a bunch of beautiful ladies who wanted to update, refresh their cut, and so they came in to get the Mazzani Air Cut.
Yeah, any of you who've ever been to New York City know that sirens are basically part of, they are the soundtrack. Everybody's fine here, though.
Yes. Well, I don't know. I had a like, I don't know. I'm so happy to be with you guys because, guys, earlier I wasn't feeling so well. So I'm super happy to be feeling a little better and to be here to present this to you. And thank you so much for tuning in. That really means a lot.
So Tammy is asking, so dry hair, just the conditioning milk before the cut?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So when you're booking an appointment, you want to have your front desk let your customer know, hey, come in dry, cleansed, dry, no product. If you must have product, just use a leave-in before they come in. If they come in from work and no product wasn't an option, then you have to build in another 10-15 minutes into their prep time, and that is getting them cleansed and dry.
Yeah, I think it's important. I had a huge aha when we first started on this journey, and you had said, why no product? And it was an aha, but it was like a duh, of course, that's the reason. But product transforms the texture, so you use product to transform texture. So of course you don't want products in there prior to. Gail, thank you. She said she's heard great things about the Miracle Milk.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It really, really is.
Are we doing a giveaway of like Miracle Milk maybe? I don't know, just adding.
Jeez, look at Tiffany's adding a whole layer of complexity to this Facebook Live. I'm telling you. So Tiffy, one thing, a lot of people, when we talk about the Mazzani Air Cut, we talk about like the point of difference, right? Because what we know, and we're all hairdressers, hairstylists, designers, colorists, myself included, and I believe that there's a method for everything, right? There's a million ways. I was told early in my career, there's a million ways to bake a cake.
Right.
Choose one, and I think that right now, cutting textured hair is a very big thing, and I think there's a lot of amazing designers out there right now doing amazing things with curly hair. I think for me, why this is appealing is I'm a very technical stylist, and I've heard from a lot of stylists that curl by curl cutting can be a little scary to them because it's just all visual. So do you want to talk about the SATs a little bit and what makes the air cut different?
Absolutely. Thanks, Kate, for that setup. So with the Mazzani Air Cut, we teach SATs, which stands for the science, the art, and the technique. And then we came up with a little song saying, you have to know the science, and then learn your techniques so you can create your art. So learn the S to learn the T to create the A. All right, it's not really a rhyming song.
I was just going to say, I don't know what nursery rhyme you're singing.
That tune is so cute.
Anywho, the point is if you are familiar with texture hair, then it's a refresh for you on Texture 101. If you are not familiar with working with textured hair, it is a really great insight to the science behind textured hair, because what ends up happening is you learn some of the challenge people with textured hair have. So for example, with her texture type actually grows down. So she is always and forever going to be flat at the crown, and because it starts to build here, she's going to be triangular. So if you just give her a standard 45-degree haircut without going in and doing anything extra, she is going to forever have a triangle. My texture type, my hair grows out. And so I'm always going to have tons of volume in my crown. So I'm always going to have a rounded shape. Well, maybe I don't want a rounded shape. Maybe I want something a little different. So you have to learn the science to understand where to apply the techniques. So that's one of the biggest, I think, points of differences for the Mazzani Air Cut. Secondly, because it is technical and there are specific techniques that you are actively working on, you can recreate the cut, which I think is super important, because with the methods that are out there, a lot of them, to your point, Kate, were or are they're site-based. So you see it, you cut it, and which is fantastic if that person always wears their hair exactly the way You saw it and you cut it. But what if they're like, well, I want to flip my part over this way, or I want to try this new product, which weighs my hair down a little more. And so you don't have the ability to maybe recreate that cut. So this allows you to recreate the design every single time.
Awesome, Tippy. Arlen C. Yazzie says, I always believe that we don't cut hair, we sculpt it.
Yes.
And it's truly, especially with those shears, I feel like you're definitely sculpting.
Absolutely.
And Tammy says your hair is gorgeous.
Aw, thanks, Tammy. That's sweet. So now, and obviously, after doing this support side, I would have gone to the other side to do the support, but this whole side is already half done. So I am now moving into what is the back crown. So we've got the back crown, we've got the top crown. And so this is where hair tends to really start to balloon. So I'm gonna do a little bit more aggressive, technique in here to make sure we still get our 45-degree angle without the extra fullness.
So Tippy, you spoke about the science of textured hair, and I want to make sure that, or not even make sure, I just want to kind of sit on that for a second, because you know, the thing about Mazzani, I don't know how much you guys out there know about us, or if you're discovering us for the first time, but we are a textured hair brand. We've been here, you know, we've been around since 1991, and we speak to all textures, and we also speak to textures on a texture key. 8 being the tightest zigzag coil, 1 being straight. And I think a lot of people, you know, they're like, well, why is it important to understand all of the different texture types? And what Tippy was referring to is exactly that. Different texture types grow out of the hair or out of the scalp differently. Their follicle shapes are different. It creates different challenges, so it's unfair to assume that everyone with textured hair has the same issues, you know, and it also, shrinkage is important, understanding how much each texture type shrinks up. So I really urge you guys to not just jump in to cutting textured hair without having some of the background, because I think that, you know, what makes you a texpert is understanding it from a 360-degree angle.
That was great, Kate. That was great, Kate.
Thanks. Thanks. Arlen says you are amazing. Thank you. Oh, we have somebody from RAC here. The Mazzani team was at the Redken Artist Connection last week, which was a very exciting thing for us.
Yes, it was.
We have some exciting things planned with our sister brand Redken. So those of you who are Redken users and those of you who are not, stay tuned, because Redken and Mazzani is about to tear up the texture world.
Yeah. Tear up.
Tear it up. Tear it up.
And not just on the stage.
So how long do you book out for this in the salon, Tippy, knowing that she's coming in, or he is coming in already dry, and then you're going to have to go back in? Like, what's timing look like?
So, so what you're doing after they are cut is you're wetting them down and you're styling them. So in a salon, I book an hour. If it's a brand new customer, I might book an additional 15 minutes just to prepare myself to maybe shampoo and dry, or cleanse and dry. So if I have to prep ahead of time, and that I won't know until they walk through the door. You know, someone's, oh, I didn't put any products in my hair. I'm like, are you kidding me? I can see it. I can feel it. Oh, okay, well, I just, you know, it's just like, I've never colored my hair. Really? Come on, guys.
So Shannon Cooper is loving the way the cut is turning out. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon Cooper.
We're getting another check-in on the curved shears. So it's something we've talked about, guys. If you look at earlier in the conversation, they are curved shears that are specifically designed by Tippy, the ones that she's using. And so you can go to the Texpert Collective, which I added it earlier in the conversation. And the shears are called
Texpert Air.
Texpert Air. Ah, Toomey's waving at Tippy.
Hey, Toomey.
And Laura is excited about the Mazzani Redken partnership. Yes, we are too. It's going to be good stuff. Okay, so Tammy is asking, she said, I see you are spraying the leave-in in your hand. Is that more for controlling your sections while cutting? Is there a reason not to just spray it on the whole head first?
So if I sprayed, so I actually, if I had to cleanse her first, if she came in, I would cleanse her, spray her with the leave-in, detangle, and allow her to dry naturally, and then go back in. So I'm using it because I am reducing frizz. I'm allowing my shears to glide through her hair more evenly, and then it's also allowed me to pull any curls that might be tucked up and hiding, or just to continue detangling. So we have a saying at Mazzani, ABD, which stands for always be detangling. So that's what I'm doing.
Now that we tried to turn into a nursery rhyme.
Yes.
ABD. We were saying, right, you down with ABD, right?
Yeah, you
that
know me. Does anyone know that? Please give me a high five if you know that and I'm just not crazy.
Well, Miss Kia is watching. She better know you down with ABD. I know she does. Hi, Kia. And of course, Miss Pakila is watching, and what you guys don't know is Pakila's in the other room.
Hey, Pakila!
But we'll take it. Pakila Riley is our other global artistic director.
She has blessed us with her talent here today.
100%.
So we can't wait to share all of our befores and afters that we've been doing for the last couple of days. And that's what they're in the room shooting. So again, you're hearing blow dryers. So the ambulance wasn't them, Avi. But if you're hearing blow dryers, it was them.
So we talked about the texture key a little bit. So we said 8 is the most zigzag coiled. And that is usually the tightest coil you're going to see. Working your way down to a 1 that is straight. So Tippy, what would you say Jada's texture type is that you're working
Well,
with?
hold on, let me just give this. Remember I talked about curls that, or pieces that aren't always in the hair, right? So that is a piece that was hiding. So with that, you just want to get your shears and then just do a freehand just to get rid of it. Okay. All right. So she is a couple of texture types. As we see, she is definitely tighter through the front. She is closer to, Kate, what are you saying? I'm thinking like 4, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Whereas back here, she's like a 2, maybe a 3 underneath. When she came in, her hair was pulled back, and so I wet her and sat her under a dryer. Now, weight brings hair down. So again, she had about 4 or 5 extra inches. So this is obviously a lot straighter because of all the weight she had. So once we wet her down and kick this back in, it's gonna be a whole new day.
I think, I mean, again, I cannot say it enough. It's why it's so important to understand texture types, because you really have to approach each section differently. You know, it's not a solid across the board texture.
That's exactly right. And I mean, we teach that for styling as well. You have to address each texture placement. You have to treat the density differently.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how it's so important to understand, because especially for product choice, you know, I think there's a lot of people who just grab for, you know, one product because they have curly hair, but they don't really pay attention to the density or to the porosity or even the texture type, and then the product is too heavy for them, and then they hate the product.
Right.
Instead of understanding that it probably wasn't the right product choice.
Right, to begin with.
Yeah.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is what we call a slide, and it's just to connect the top to the bottom. I've got my layering. I think I'm really great there. I'm just going to create some lighter pieces throughout, just for some extra movement. So I'm going to turn her a little bit this way. Follow me. Head down. Sarah, the light.
We have the lovely Danica filming, just because we can see you in the mirror. So
Hi,
I feel like we
lovely
need
Danica.
to acknowledge Danica works with
Hey, Danica.
content, digital. She's a digital princess.
All right. So finding my original guide, lifting it up. And so what this is the equivalent of like point cutting, because with point cutting, particularly when you've got curlier bits, it's just really hard to get into those pieces as you could with straight hair. So with the slide is you're coming from underneath and just creating softer ends.
So Tippy, just for the people that are just joining us, you are using curved shears, but you can still do this haircut with straight shears.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure that.
Thank you. So you saw that the movement with my straight, with my curved shear was a little rocking movement. With the straight, it's just a deeper rocking movement. So I will demo that. Thank you, Kate. All right. Got our guy. Let's bring her up. Because the point is to create channels in the hair. So we start down, and I literally have to create. Did you see Shear was out, and I'm opening, closing as I'm going up, opening. And then anything that's left, you stretch out, and you cut.
And so again, guys, this is called the Mazzani Air Cut. It is a technique that Mazzani launched at the very end of last year, curated by Tippy, that is basically creating air pockets in textured hair because we want textured hair to move, and we want it to be, you know, I keep saying have movement, but you know, it's really that. It's like nobody wants to walk around and not have their hair
in hair.
Yeah.
So I know some of you have seen people out on the street, at the grocery store, with maybe a really beautiful shape, but it's just, or it's like, and you just want to be like, let me just take some notches out of that, which is actually, you know, and maybe I can find this woman at the grocery store so I can give her credit for me creating this technique, because she just had the most solid hair, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I just really want to put some movement and some life into her hair, and so that's what I was able to do. It's coming along beautifully. How are you feeling so far?
I love it.
So the challenge is always doing this cut, because even though it is visual, it's technical, and that's what I will say. You know, try to do see it, cut it without a mirror, because what are you seeing, right? So it could be incredibly lopsided. So the fact that I was able to give you this cut and it be symmetrical without seeing it lets you know that the technical part is very important.
So there's a question around, will we be offering hands-on cutting classes?
Yes, we already are. We have an incredible, strong cutting team with Mazzani, and I know that my calendar is pretty solid with the doing. So we offer it a few different ways. So if you want to bring us into your salon, we do a look and learn demo. We do a hands-in. So the look and learn demo and the hands-in are basically half day, and then we do a full day hands-on where we go a lot deeper. You've got your swatches, you've got your mannequins, and we work it out. And then we have the 2-day certification, which is posted or will be posted.
Not yet. We're literally in the final hours of trying to confirm the last dates, but so far we have about 10 locations for 2020, with them adding every week. They're 2-day certification program, which are, you know, taught mostly by Tippy right now. And they're all over the country, and we will be posting, so stay tuned on the Mazzani page, on the Mazzani website. I'm sure Salon Centric will also pick it up, and State RVA. There will be a site that you can go in and sign up for a certification program. And then as far as your in-salon classes, you can purchase in-salon classes. You can also look at the opportunity to attend some demos at your stores, at your local Salon Centric stores. So there's all sorts of ways, but between Salon Centric and Mazzani, you can find out all of that information.
So shameless plug for me. If you are in the New York City area or close to, on February 11th, myself plus 8 other artists will be on stage. I will be doing the Mazzani Air Cut. but it's a night of texture. It's called the Texture Beauty Jam, and we'll be working on coloring, cutting, and editorial styling. So again, follow me if you're not, so you can get some more information about that. But if you want an opportunity to see it again, come check us out there.
So Tammy asks, will we be at ABS in Chicago? So yes, Tammy, and one of our amazing artists, Ashley Brown.
Hold on, I didn't get an amazing. Did you guys see how like animated that amazing was? Like, I don't think the kilo or I got. Love you, Ashley, though.
I don't know how
Ashley is amazing. No, Ashley is amazing.
I know, exactly. I'm like, I don't know how to say Ashley's name without adding amazing. But she will actually be doing classrooms at ABS on the Mazzani Air Cut. So definitely look out for her at ABS. And Al, another one of our amazing. Now I have to call everybody amazing. Another one of our amazing artists will be on the salon-centric stage as well.
And they are exactly that.
Yeah.
Anyone going to ISSE? Let me know. Come check me out.
Oh yeah, Tippy will be at the Hair Brain Teach-In.
I will.
At ICE. Okay, so we have a few questions. We want to go back to what product, so I think probably we'll revisit the 25 Miracle Milk.
Absolutely. I will for sure recap it. So I put it all through the top section already, and with this being a straighter, I want to make sure I'm not weighing the hair down, because again, that defeats the whole purpose of her hair being clean with no product, which is why you don't see me continuing to add it through here like I did through the rest of her hair that was a little tighter, a little denser. So the 25 Miracle Milk, Danica, if you can hand me that, I'll show you what that guy looks like, what that gal looks like. So 25 Miracle Milk is my leave-in conditioner, it's my detangling spray, and for this particular scenario, it is my cutting aid. Thank you.
This comes in 2 sizes. You can get it at Salon Centric and State RDA, both online and in store or through your SSC. And then we have another question from Rita. So I think maybe we can revisit this question, is would this cut work on those who like to wear their hair straight once in a while?
Absolutely. Anybody out there want to answer that for me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes. So her shrinkage level is probably about 20%, a max of 20%. So she 100% can, and she's pretty consistent with the exception of being here. So she might be 30% here, but everywhere else she's between 15 and 20% shrinkage. So who it does not work for is someone who maybe has 75% shrinkage here and 20% shrinkage here, because now I'm cutting it based on how her hair is being worn naturally. So because this has so much more shrinkage, not her specifically, but just our imaginary client, when I blow her out, clearly this is going to be much longer. But I can tell you the scenario today is that most of our girls who came in today wear their hair natural more than 75% of the time, and all of them had gotten their hair blown out to get it cut last. And we had so many shelves today. We had a young lady who had basically all the shrinkage here and then had like a few pieces of tails because her hair was a lot looser. So I would just cut it based on how your client wears their hair more than 50% of the time.
So guys, I just posted in the comments, any questions about Mazzani education? Again, we are like days, hours away from launching our Mazzani Air Cut calendar. But if you have any questions in the meantime, you can contact us at info@mazzanieducation.com. And again, I put that in the comments for you.
Sound like you were saying contest. Which brings me back to, are we giving a Miracle Milk away?
Danica.
We can.
I'm just saying.
Who are we giving it to?
I don't know, guys. Who are we giving it to?
I don't know.
Who wants to, how did I say, if someone can write in what her texture types were and how I said her hair grows from her scalp, whoever the first person to write that in is the person who gets.
Okay. I'll wait and I'll look for the answer. Texture types and how does her hair grow from her scalp?
Now I said it.
I know.
Hope you guys were listening.
So I think also I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna show you the before picture.
Yeah, let's do that.
So Danica, without getting me in the camera, because I'd rather not. This was Jada's before picture. Still beautiful, amazing head of hair. But super excited to be able to give her a real shape.
That's not a triangle.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with triangles if that's the look you're going for. I always have a disclaimer like, hey, I love a good round, or I love shapes.
So, Shannon Cooper. Oh.
No, was it wrong?
No, she's close though. She said, Shannon says it grows flat. The texture is a 3 in the back and a 7 up front. But
No.
that's not true.
Yeah, not 7 in the front.
She's a 3 in the front and a 2 in the back underneath, so it's flat on top and crown. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's Laura.
Yeah. Hey, Laura. Thanks for listening.
Laura just won a Miracle Milk. Shannon, amazing effort. You got one too.
All right. Wait. No, wait. I have one more. What did I say? My slide glide was the equivalent to, but I can't do the other technique because the curls tend to get in the way.
Oh my gosh, Sophia.
Stop right now.
I know that answer.
You said you know that answer?
I said I don't even know if I know
Yeah,
the
you
answer.
do. I literally just said it. Come on, guys.
All right, say it again.
Okay, I'm doing the slide glide. Before I did it, I told you guys what it is equivalent to, but why I can't do that technique because the curls get in the way.
Azeb says point.
Yes.
Very good, Azeb.
Yes.
You won a Miracle Milk too.
All right, so no more. I'm not going to put you. I'm
All
not
right,
gonna... All right, one more. No, just kidding.
That's 3 winners.
All right.
That's 3 winners.
All right, cool. So where I'm at now is if I see any pieces that maybe I missed, curls that were hiding, just checking the symmetry because again, half her haircut was done without a mirror. So now that I have a mirror, I can go back in and fix. But her shape looks fantastic. We've got really great shape here, definition. Now I'm gonna wet her down and I'm gonna use the Mazzani foam.
So Tippy, I think, oh yeah, go ahead.
Actually, maybe I'm not gonna wet her down fully. I'm just gonna mist her lightly.
Yeah, because I was
think
going to
we're
say
running out of
we're
time.
running out of time, but I want to make sure they get to see your finished look. So
Okay.
I do think what we can do is you can kind of show them how you're going to go in and style,
Yeah.
and then maybe we can post
The
her
after?
finished
Yeah.
look.
All right. For sure there. So follow obviously at Tippy Shorter, follow Mazzani, and hopefully Salon Centric will repost. I'm sure they will as well. All right.
Jada, you like?
I love.
Good.
I'm gonna ask you to hold that. You guys hear that wind out there? Today it was sunny, it rained while snowing, or snowed while raining.
All in the same sitting.
Yeah. All while I was cutting the
By
first
Mazzani.
half of your hair.
All right, Tippy, so why important to wet down before you put the product in?
So you always want to apply, first of all, curly products, period, have hold. And what you don't want to do is put the hold on dry hair. It's going to make it tacky, it could make it flaky. So you want to make sure the hair is wet, as little to no frizz as possible before you start applying product. Now her hair is on the finer side, so I don't need to make it soaking wet. If I were coming from just shampooing her, I would do an aggressive towel dry on her.
So talk to us about foam wrap, which is like the holy grail for
Fave
everyone.
everything. So foam wrap I use pretty consistently on my washing goes, and on thicker, denser hair, I follow it up with another product, and I can't give you one specific, but let's just say the coil oil gel. And the reason why I'm calling that one out is because it would also be great on her texture, particularly the tighter one. So you guys remember how loose her texture was while I was cutting, and then how I mentioned once we got rid of all that weight, how her curl is really going to be able to kick in. Look at that, how gorgeous.
And I think a little trick to foam wrap is even for those of us who have maybe some deficiency in the texture category,
Yes.
like me, I actually use it to blow my hair out.
Do you? So it
Yeah.
has a little grip in it. So it's perfect for setting. So if you are doing roller sets, rod sets, twist sets, braid sets, anything from wet to dry, the foam wrap is where it's at. And then to Kate's point, It really adds a lot of really great grip if you've got finer hair and you're looking to add and build in some volume without weight.
You are getting mad love. Everyone's saying beautiful.
Thank you guys.
So I think at this point, is this basically, you want to tell them the steps that you're going to do to finish, and
Absolutely.
then we'll close out so we can finish her up and post?
Yeah, so from this point I'm just going to go subsection by subsection, dampening her hair with some water, adding a few pumps of the Mazzani foam wrap, doing a light scrunch. I'm going to diffuse her, and I'm not going to actually diffuse her with a lot of movement because, as we mentioned, she doesn't like her hair super big and full. So we want to diffuse it to make sure we're able to get the heat into the interior. And then I'm going to finish off with a little 25 Miracle Milk, which is which is the sister to the 25 Miracle.
Oh, oil.
Oh, oil. What did I say? Yes, yes. Thank you. I feel like doing my elevator pitch now. 25 Miracle Oil. It is my second fave, only to 25 Miracle Milk. And then there's something super special coming down the pike that I'm not going to talk about yet. And then, because that will be in a tie, or a triple tie for my fave.
So real quick, can we show the foam wrap bottle again?
Yes.
And again, this is a foaming mousse, and a liquid foaming mousse.
And smells amazing. Well, you tell me.
Yes.
I was like, you tell me.
And it's important to know, as with any products, no matter whether it's texture products or not, you know, you start lower and build as a style needs it.
You can always add. It's a heck of a lot harder to take away.
Azeb asked, is it available in Europe? I know it's available in France. I know it's available in Africa. But I'm not sure elsewhere in Europe. All right, guys, so we're gonna let Tippy finish up, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today at Salon Centric on Facebook Live. Once again, don't forget to follow Mazzani, at Tippy Shorter, at Texpert Collective, particularly if you are interested in those shears or the Texture Beauty Jam in New York City in February. Come check me out at ICE, come check me out at the Beauty Jam, and just check me out.
Yeah.
Bye,
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks,
We'll
guys.
post the final.